Jeray, yeah, we cruising through. In that 97 Cutlass, strolling through the air. Bass booming, it's a party inside the slab. It's whatever, baby, you could put it on the tab. Blessings in the wind, shall I see it, then I grab. Ay. Probably with the set, making bangers. Spare time, we be riding swingers. Pushing on them gears, pushing on them gears. Out here, and we swinging. Watch for the scanners, watch for the scammers. We be setting standards, we be setting standards. Only going forward, ain't no going backwards. Anytime we in the booth, it's a fire hazard. There's some datings on it, now they hating on it. Supreme clientele, they was waiting on it. Pontiac, Firebird flying on them. I got a need for speed, I'm a Florida on them. Gran Turismo, running game on them. This is custom kitted, whip the paint on them. Forza Motorsport, change lanes on them. Twist the metal gang, throw the flame on them. Hey, probably with the set, making bangers. Spare time, we be riding swingers. Pushing on them gears, pushing on them gears. Out here, and we swinging. Watch for the scanners, watch for the scammers. We be setting standards, we be setting standards. Only going forward, ain't no going backwards. Anytime we in the booth, it's a fire hazard. Woke up feeling blessed, I ain't dealing with no stress today. Staying to myself, cause I won't let them get the best of me. We been pushing forward, we ain't focused on what's yesterday. They wanna know the formula, can let them know the recipe. Whoa, metal to the floor, hear the engine roll. Pull the top down on the two doors. You can't push no buttons in this new car. Can't let them push our buttons, we came too far. Sometimes you gotta remind them what you do it for. We done came up, we was too poor. Got the butters on the feet, we from New York. They can feel it in our body, know we too pure. We was too mature, way before 24. I got kicks up in my closet that I never wore. We was down bad, now check the new score. They know it's ISO to the indie, we the new norm.
97 Cutlass, strolling through the air. Bass booming, it's a party inside the slab. It's whatever, baby, you could put it on the tab. Blessings in the wind, shall I see it, then I grab. Ay. Blessings in the wind, shall I see it, then I grab. Ay. Blessings in the wind, shall I see it, then I grab.
Ay. Probably with the set, making bangers. Spare time, we be riding swingers. Pushing on them gears, pushing on them gears. Out here, and we swinging. Watch for the scanners, watch for the scammers. We be setting standards, we be setting standards. Only going forward, ain't no going backwards. Anytime we in the booth, it's a fire hazard.
Give me the loot. Might lose some battles, but winning no ball. I get knocked down, I get back up, get up and go. I stay ready for more. Go toe to toe till I level the score. Never gon' quit. Heard you seen some, but you never seen this. Bet on myself 8 times, no trick. Give me the loot. See now we going high stakes. This ain't clickbait. This a risk take. This no mistake. I was born to do it. I was born for music. I just get into it. I can't get influence when I'm the influence. No genre music. We go rap back to pop back to rap. Country on the track. I was once broke, I was down bad. Swear I'm never going back. I'm from upstate where we see a little bit of this and some of that. Little city and some sticks. Watch me put it on the map.
Hey, all work, no pleasure. I ain't here to make friends, big stepper. Hey, bad guy, Heath Ledger. Ready for wherever, I'll be front and center. Don't fly too close to the sun, your body chopped up by propellers. Came in arrogant, but left out in a stretcher. The comparison, y'all know y'all couldn't replicate it. Chilling in the desert, I'm good under pressure.
Stick around, let me hold it down, look at what we found.
This a marathon, not a sprint, let's go 100 miles.
From the ground, let me to the clouds, never coming
down. Welcome to the official podcast of PHP Architect. Join us to listen to the latest news and tech talk from our conferences, the magazine, and wider PHP community.
Hey there, hi there, hello there, and you're listening to the official podcast of the PHP Architect magazine. This is episode 2025.05.15, and I am one of your hosts, Eric Van Johnson, and with me, as always, John Congdon.
Hi, Eric Van Johnson. How are you tonight?
Hello, Jonathan. This podcast focuses on all things PHP and web development. We also touch on the larger PHP community and the general life of being a developer. And of course, we talk about our company, PHP Architect, the magazine, the books, and the upcoming conference. We record every week on Thursday around 3 p.m. Pacific time. And thanks to our partners over at Honey Badger, this podcast is just a slight inch better than it normally is. Honey Badger is... lost my place. Hold on. Give me a second. Honey Badger helps you deploy with confidence and be your team's DevOps hero by combining error, uptime, and performance monitoring in one simple platform. It's simple to get started, and setup only takes a few minutes. Be the hero your team needs. Suit up over at honeybadger.io. And as always, we'll talk about them a little bit more a little later. If you don't watch the live stream and only listen to the audio podcast, we'd love you to join us on the live stream and participate in the live show in our Discord at discord.phparch.com. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel at youtube.com/phparch and click the bell to get notified. I think that's it.
Good job.
Yeah, that's everything.
Yep, we're good.
Got a lot on my mind here, John.
Gee, I had no clue what you're talking about. How could you have anything on your mind right now?
Dude, just like that. It seems like just yesterday we were begging people to come and sponsor the pod. Well, actually, we were just begging people to come and sponsor the conference yesterday. But yeah, conference is upon us. PHP Tech.
We literally fly out tomorrow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Are you all packed up, ready to go?
That's what's crazy. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, my brain is completely locked up. I can't even think about what I need to pack. Because for the past few conferences, you know, we were like bringing a bunch of stuff, you know, cameras, and you know, we have like 90% of our audio video equipment in a trailer, but you know, because of our first conferences, we had a bunch of stuff coming. And this year, like, I have the hard drives and I have stickers. I'm like, why do I feel like I need more things? Like, I feel like I'm forgetting like something major right now. And I probably am. But
tablecloth? I think you have one of those.
Do I have one of the tablecloths?
I thought
we
you
talked about that. I will have to go look. I have to go hunt that down. I should have had that found by now.
I was packing up. I have an ATEM to bring to actually do the live streaming.
Wait,
and I got
you have an ATEM? Oh, then I have an ATEM.
No. I have one because we bought one last year that was not ISO, where it records the video and audio separately.
Oh.
So I bought one afterwards, and now I'm realizing we don't have 4 tracks this year. We had 4 tracks last year, so we don't really need it. But it's brand new in a box that I got last year right after the conference.
Yeah.
So I'm bringing it just in case. Like,
hey, better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it, right?
Exactly.
Oh man, yeah. I don't know. I just I can't get in the mode of let's go. You know, let's get out. Let's go travel. But I need to do it. I need to do it tonight because I'm actually driving down to San Diego. I'm going to do all my post stuff on the podcast, and I'm going to head down to San Diego. The wife and I are going to stay down there because we have an early flight. That's probably the biggest pain about where we live now. You know, like 90% of the time, I'm a 50 to an hour out of San Diego, but like during the workday, especially during traffic when people are going to work, there's no telling. Like, it could take you an hour. It's taken 4 hours. Like, there is absolutely no way of figuring out. And when your flight's at 6 in the morning, and you have to be at the airport like by 5, so it means you got to leave at like 3 in the morning. We left at 3 in the morning once and barely made it to the airport. It's just insane. That's the biggest downside about where we are right now. But yeah, so we're gonna level up this year and just stay in a hotel by the airport tonight and not do so much about it.
That makes perfect sense. Good idea.
Yeah. How about you?
Better idea would have been not flying out at 6 in the morning. Just saying. A better idea would not be flying out at 6 a.m. and going more like at a normal time, like 10:30.
I keep questioning, like, the only thing I could think of was cost. Like, that must have been why I picked that time, because it must have been a big enough.
Much more.
See, that's the thing. Like, me, like, I will spend the money. Like, I am all about comfort. Yeah, I'm all about the creature comforts. Like, I will
tickets at the same time.
Extra money. So yeah, I don't know why I spent so much, but what is done is done, and we're just kind of moving forward with it. It'll be fun. Looking forward to it.
Looking forward to after Monday, like once we know all the equipment's working, everything is set up.
Yeah.
Those last minute, oh crap, we forgot to print this or we forgot to do that. Like, get past all of that.
Or actually, yeah, Monday. Yeah, Monday, like knowing all the speakers are in town and knowing everybody made it. Yeah, all the equipment. Yeah.
The big thing right now is the international speakers, making sure they get into the country safely, get through customs, and make it to the hotel. Once they're there, you give them a big hug and say, "Welcome. Just stay here. Don't move."
Yeah, I don't think it would be a problem. But
no, I know. I'm just kidding.
But yeah, if you don't know what we're talking about, PHP Tech is in a couple of not for you guys, not a couple of days. For us, we start working on it in a couple of days.
It's 5 days away, right?
Yeah, 5 days away. So we hope we're going to be seeing you 4 days in 17 hours, to be more precise, John.
I like precision.
But we hope we'll be seeing some of you guys there, some of you developers. It's always a good time. We've had a lot. We've been very lucky that I'm waiting for that year that we don't have a good year. Like, I feel like it's got to be coming up soon, because
hey,
it's
no.
just it's always a good time. Yeah, I know, right? Always a good time. Looking forward to it. I don't know what else to say. If you haven't gotten your ticket, there's still time. Obviously,
yes.
There's always the virtual pass.
There's still time. Unfortunately, you're out of time for a hotel room at the venue because they're sold out.
Right.
They say they have no rooms left.
As much as I like to take credit for it, I mean, I assume we do deserve a good amount of credit for it, but it's not sold out because so many people are coming to the conference. I guess they're just sold out because they're sold out. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be fun. We'll see how it goes. And we have if you're staying at the hotel, we got the breakfast thing, right? The breakfast vouchers. Also, if you're local to San Diego, wow. If you're local to Chicago and you're driving to the conference, Hunt, myself, or John, or go to registration. Yeah, we typically have parking passes for you, so you don't have to pay for parking while you're at the hotel. So that's a nice thing.
Yeah. Unlike San Diego, you don't get that. You park no matter where you're at.
Yeah.
You park in front of your house, you got to pay, it feels like.
Yeah. Actually, I don't actually remember that being a problem at Wave. Do we have parking passes at Wave?
Probably. I really don't remember.
We must have, right? I mean, it was literally on the beach, right? I mean, there's no way we had a place on the beach and people not have to pay for parking. Oh, the good old days.
A few years ago.
Yeah. Besides that, we had a meetup this week, which was a lot of fun. Ennis
Kendrick
Bucky, who's in
he
our
did
Discord.
so good.
Oh, dude, rocked it, man.
Yeah.
He did a talk on Prism, which is TJ Miller's AI package, and he killed it. He got me so excited to use that package. I've been talking to TJ a little bit here and there, but he's been so heads down on it, and I didn't want to get into first thing. I'm not that great with AI, especially at the level of Ennis Bucky or TJ, especially. So I was kind of waiting for everything to be polished a little bit before I tried to do anything. But after watching Kendrick's talk, I'm like, dude.
You were like, if he can do it, I can do it.
Dude, he was killing it, man. He was killing it. TJ, you've done a fantastic job with that package, by the way. But
yeah,
he's actually doing a whole talk, session on a Prism tutorial. I think is the word I was looking for.
Yep.
That first day, I'm going to have to slip in there and try to pick up some of that.
Yes, you should.
And then I need Kendrick to submit to Tech next year, because the guy was such a great speaker, very engaging. He kind of kept everybody involved.
Very natural with his tone. He knew how to talk. He made it fun because the venue sucked. We're in a co-working facility, and they have lots of people that use that space. And literally on the other side of the wall from the conference room that we were in is the lobby. And there's just a drum circle going on out there. So, and it was loud while Kendrick was trying to give his presentation. So I felt bad for him having to deal with it, but he also dealt with it. He rolled with it. He made jokes about it. He did such a good job.
To be fair, the venue doesn't suck. It was just it was quite the collage of people in one area trying to do their thing. So
right,
we actually reached out to them. They're willing to be really accommodating to us. So we're excited about it. But yeah, Kendrick held his own. I think we all just should have started yelling more. But he did well.
We yell more. They drum louder.
What did you think of the topic? I mean, obviously Kendrick did a good job, but like I can never get like a real read on you with AI and where you think it kind of fits into things.
Well, one, I thought he did a great job. What I am really looking forward to is learning how to train my own models versus using the models that are already available. Mm-hmm. I just don't take enough time. So I've done a little bit of AI work with the Phone Burner team about a month ago at this point, where we got in and we started playing with things and trying to figure out how to bring it into their product. But I do see lots of use cases for us at PHP Architect, especially with the magazine. And if it's really just that, if we could figure out how to train our own models, which I think you can with the tool set that he kept talking about. You add a tool, and then it uses that to gather data. But I don't know if that's really AI at that point, as much as AI saying, "Hey, tool, I need some information. Like, I want to know the weather in San Diego." So it passes to your weather tool, San Diego, and then I just got to return the weather at that point.
Yeah.
So it's not really AI.
Yeah.
It's not going through your data set to gather information.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think I feel like I have a lot of ideas on how we could use it for the magazine specifically, not only for us, but to help the regular contributors, like with ideas and in writing. And I feel like I have a lot of ideas, but like you said, just understanding how to implement feels like a little bit of a struggle for me.
Yeah.
So Kendrick touched on the same thing that TJ's always touching on it, and I keep looking at it and I just don't understand it. Although Kendrick kind of brought me around a little bit during his talk, that Hugging Face website where it's like all these different models,
Mhm.
and I'm just like, okay, but like, how do you know what model you need? Like, that's what I don't get. Like, what's in the model? Like, I'm with you. Like, I feel like these generic models are just like starting points, but like, if for it to be really personalized and efficient for me and what I want to do for it with it, I need to create the model. And I feel like he touched a little bit on that with like those vector graphs that he was storing in the database. And I don't know, man. I feel like I'm so close. I feel like I'm so close to getting it now that I really, want to start playing with it. But we'll see. We'll see.
I was trying to find something real quick, and I'm not going to be able to. I got too many windows open. What I was trying to find was, we're speaking about AI, and I just happened to come across a new course on LinkedIn Learning from our good friend Keith Casey, who's doing
Casey.
he's doing a whole course on building APIs with generative AI.
Oh,
So
cool. Did you find the link?
I will find it. I'll give him a little love, because he's a good dude.
Yes. Danger, right? That's danger.
Danger Casey, yep.
Cool. But
So yeah, if I find it, I'll throw it in the show notes.
yeah. But besides that, just nervous. Wanting to make sure everybody has a good time in Chicago. All our true friends who bothered to come, just not calling anybody out except the dirt bags that don't come. What? No.
You ready for something funny?
Please.
All right, I did find that, and I will share that over there. I'm pretty sure it happened after our last show. I told you how I was working on getting our phone systems up to PHP 8.4, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the plan was Friday, we were going to put a Canary machine out there, just an additional server. So basically, I think we normally run with like 17 phone servers during the day, and we're just going to put an 18th one in there. Put a few
real fast.
Yeah.
You said canary, like as in canary in the mine thing?
Yep, exactly.
Okay. All right.
So a canary is basically just that. You put another server that's running differently, so a little bit of traffic will go to it. And if things blow up, you're not screwing up the entire system. You're only screwing a few customers over. To put delicately, you're screwing them over because things break. So I was working with another developer on the ops team, and we got the server up and running after some time, and then decided, you know what? It's late enough on a Friday. Let's put the auto scaling group back to PHP 7.4, and we'll wait till Monday to actually do any more testing. He said, sure, he did it. I wake up the next morning to honey badger alerts left and right and left and right. What is going on? Yeah, when I changed the code because I was working on it, I had error reporting at all, like every error. Mm-hmm. So deprecation notices and warnings and everything just blowing up honey badger. And then I started writing him. I'm like, did you change that back to 7.4? Because they're all running 8.4 right now. He goes, whoops. And you can't just turn them off because there's actual phone calls on them.
Oh, that's true. Huh?
So I quickly changed the error reporting to get rid of all the noise from deprecations and stuff, because I knew those were there. I was like, I'll deal with those at a later time. And at that point, I'm like, do we just leave it and see what happens at this point? Like, let it run on the weekend, because I mean, traffic is lower because it's a business product mainly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just never rolled back to 7.4. We just left the 8.4 out there and have had no issues from it, other than, being overburdened by honey badger notices. Mm-hmm. Being woken up to things like that is not fun. But as soon as I saw it, I'm like, okay, I know this isn't a real issue. it's just got thousands of them. So let's dial that back a little bit.
Yeah, we talked. Speaking of work weeks, a little bit here, we talked on the show last week about open source projects and their frustration with AI reported bugs and security issues.
Yeah.
And if you manage, especially if you manage a large application, you get like just a constant stream of, hey, I found bugs on your site. Pay me some money and I'll tell you what they are. We get that with the PHP Architect website all the time. And so you start to, you start to figure out the clues of whether people are legit or not. But this week we actually had somebody reach out to us about one of our client sites.
Oh, really?
A college person reached out and said, this, and the client's the same way. They get these all the time. So they were kind of like, hey, I'm just sending this your way in case you think it's a thing, but I get it if it's not. And I looked at him like, yeah, they had some keywords in there. I was like, that's interesting. And by the way they spoke, you knew that they understood code, right? Development. Because they said some particularly specifically like incremental. Like they referenced incremental IDs. I'm like, okay. The fact that they identified that. So we've been working with them to kind of fix the issues. We actually thought we had the issues fixed recently, and then just heard from them again today. It's like, hey, just so you know, I'm still seeing the problem over here. I'm like, oh, I don't think that's what we fixed. so we need to do that.
Working with them in that they're charging for this, or they just
no, they haven't asked to be paid. They haven't asked about a bounty or anything. I think they're into cybersecurity. Of course, I do my little stalking number as well. So they do a lot of cybersecurity stuff. They look like they're a college student, and we don't do. So this is something obviously we're managing through our client and stuff. So we don't actually offer the bug bounties or anything like that. But they haven't asked for it, and I thought that was really. And the issue that they're reporting isn't so much a security threat as it falls more in the category of potential information leakage, right? So there's not a vulnerability, sort of say. There's just like if you know what you're doing, and then in theory you could get some information leakage from it. And it's legit. I mean, like I said, what they're reporting is a legit concern that needs to be addressed. So that was great, and they've been super. They felt bad because they called our client out on like a public social media stream, and because they didn't have a way to report bugs. That's another thing. Is like you could tell that they were a security person because they were looking for places to report a bug. I'm like, this is a normal business. You just reach out to customer service. Like they're not. This isn't Facebook. There's no way to. There's
not
like that.
They're an IT company, but not an IT company.
Yeah, that's John and I's new thing with the people we work with. It's like because it happens so often. I guess it's just people don't realize it. Like you go into a business to do something. For example, the client we have, they're in a specific business niche. That's a real world business. Like it's, a real thing. It's not a digital business, so to speak, but they're an IT company because their entire platform is, internet based, right? So we've been working with clients like, hey, you guys have to come to grips with you're an IT company. So you need to start, treating yourself like an IT company.
Right.
It's been fun. We've had some meetings recently. And it's just like I hope the realization sets in and because it's a different way to think of the business. I mean, the one meeting we had just recently, the idea of investing in the IT development aspect of it is not really there. To them, IT was a maintenance department. Like, oh, we need to keep the lights on. We need to keep things running. It's like, no, that's not what you are. Right? You're an IT company. You need to realize it. So hopefully they come.
That's
around.
a great way to put it. I didn't even think about it, them looking at it that way, but that's what it was. They're like, we don't want to invest more in the IT department because we want to sunset some of our features. It's like, yeah, but sunsetting takes work, and you still have all these other things that need maintenance or need to be built. You have people asking you for new features, so there's still a ton to do. You're just not seeing it because you're in the, I don't know who we dealt with, but like if you're talking to a CFO, they're looking at the books. They're not thinking about their online presence.
Right. Yep. It's a real thing. All right. Yep. We since we've talked so much about Honey Badger, and Honey Badger has been a fantastic, like we say all the time, we use it every day with multiple clients. Like all of our clients, we have Honey Badger. So it's a regular thing. So and they're nice enough to sponsor or partner with us to give us some money to make the show a little better. So let's give them some airtime.
When your app breaks in production, you want to quickly understand and fix it, not sift through logs for the next hour. That's where Honey Badger comes in. Honey Badger notifies you of errors, outages, and performance issues as they occur and helps you respond instantly when your systems go down. When you need to dig deeper, Honey Badger's advanced query engine helps you reach into your logs and grab just the information you need. With error tracking, performance and uptime monitoring, log management, and support for over 10 languages, Honey Badger is the best tool to gain real-time insights into your application's health and performance. Best of all, it's free to get started, and setup takes less than 5 minutes. Be sure to bookmark honeybadger.io. That's www.honeybadger.io. Thank you, Honey Badger.
I moved one of your cards over and I can't get it to move back now. Oh my god! I am getting really close to giving up on Edge. There are a couple of small things about it.
Edge being the browser.
Edge being the browser, yes. Microsoft Edge. So I fixed my my biggest pain point was I always had this weird glitch about videos, especially like preview sort of videos where the graphic would get all screwed up. Even when we would be recording, like my video for me was messed up. And I'd keep asking John, is my video all right? And John's like, yeah, it looks fine. I figured out how to fix that. I did some Googling and figured out it's this, graphic acceleration that it tries to do. It just doesn't do it well, I guess. But like, there's these other little quirks about it now that are like really starting to bug me. And one thing it seems to do, and it seems to be, it's got to be what I'm doing. It's got to be a behavior for me because I don't mouse a lot. Like I spend a lot of time. I have the Vim bindings for my browser, but like when I'm doing things with my mouse, I notice in Microsoft Edge, it will select everything on the page. And I don't know what I'm doing to do that. And it does it. And I can't get it to unselect everything. It's like, stop selecting everything. It's so frustrating. And it happens all the time. It just happened in our Trello board where it selected everything. I'm like, oh my God. The whole Honey Badger commercial, I tried getting it to unselect everything. It's so weird. I don't know what does that. But yeah, I'm done with web browsers. I don't want web browsers anymore. I'm going back to
pencil and paper.
100%.
I'm gonna calling people on my phone, rotary style.
Yeah, dude, I need since switching over to the iPhone, and I'm not blaming the iPhone. If anything, I'm way more suspicious of my cellular provider. Because I was in the Google cellular plan or whatever you call it, Google Fi.
Google Fi, yeah.
And I was on that for years, and maybe I forgot, but I had to move over to AT&T. We had this conversation, but I had moved over to AT&T because I switched over to the iPhone and I wanted all my devices to work together. And every day, 4 to 5 text messages a day, just of spam. Hi, I hope you don't mind me messaging you. You gave me your number last night at the bar. Remember me? It's like, oh God, like every goddamn day with you guys. And I'm just about, because for me, like I rarely use my phone for phone calls. It's always Slack, uh, Telegram, or messaging with the family. I almost never talk on it. And because I just don't have friends who want to talk to me. but I never had the issue with text messaging. And I've had the same number. Like my number hasn't changed. I poured it. But since coming back to the iPhone, and like I said, the only thing that changed is I moved back to another cellular provider. And it's just every day, 4 or 5 text messages a day. It's the same spammy stuff.
I get that same thing, but only on Telegram every day.
Yeah.
Where it's hi, and they act like you're somebody else, and then I always play along. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember you, and like I try to engage in this conversation, and they're like, oh, I think I messaged the wrong person. I hope I didn't bother you. It's like,
but you seem so nice.
Yeah,
where are you at?
But I'm always like, no bother at all. Let's continue the conversation. And they're always trying to get you to join WhatsApp. And I always end it with, I'm just trying to figure out what the scam is, but I can't be bothered to install WhatsApp, so block.
John's like, nudes? Brent's like, no, I don't do that. John's like, no, of me. Do you want nudes of me?
I don't ask, I just send. It's like, you got to contact me out of the blue. Here you go.
So yeah, we've been doing some things. We told you we've been talking a lot about Joe Ferguson coming on as a sysops person. It's always been fun. And like I said, Kaylin, Frank, I'll give myself some credit as well. I feel like we've done a really good job over the years at managing the infrastructure. I mean, we haven't always done the things, probably the correct way of doing stuff. Kaylin has really, like the last 4 or 5 years, just really stepped it up in our AWS environment. Like, having us move to things like Elastic Beanstalk and things like that. But every now and then something sneaks up. And actually, this is something that even Joe didn't realize, because Joe had to do some research on it. But I guess, so we've been doing a lot of Elastic Beanstalk stuff. And works great. That's why we use it. Fantastic. We manage all of our environmental variable information in the interface. So there's no file it needs to reference or anything like that. Works good. But guess what? There's a limit to how much those environmental variables can hold. It's
Really?
not so much how many items you can have, which is what we thought it was initially. Frank and I think it was last week or maybe the week before, but Frank and I were trying to work through the problem initially, where Frank was trying to add an environmental variable and wouldn't let us. So we kind of went through and had to clean up. But yeah, it's the size. So the overall size of the environmental variables that you have for Elastic Beanstalk has a limit. And we hit that limit. and it was
great. Hit that limit?
Yeah, it was. And like when you look through it, like we're looking through the environmental variables, it's like, oh no, like all this stuff's important. Like we kind of need all these things. But Joe figured out another way of doing it where like the environmental variables are mainly, things like, the secret stuff that you don't want to like share a lot of.
Uh-huh.
And then he has another way. There's AWS Secrets Manager, which is we're looking at implementing as well. But just in general, like how long all the text combined in your environmental variable can be has a limit.
It's right there. You just passed it. It's 4K. Okay. Yeah, right above there. Yep.
Okay.
The combined size
right here.
of all.
Yeah. exceeds.
Environmental properties cannot exceed 4K.
Yeah. And of course, like when Frank and I are trying to troubleshoot this, we're just like, okay, maybe we take one away. Like, oh, that's what it was. He had created 4 new environmental variables. Like, he puts all 4 in, and it chokes. It's like, all right, well, put 1 in. Okay. Well, put 2 more in. Okay. Put that last one. Oh, that's the one that breaks it. Oh, okay. Well, put that one out. Now let's try these 3. And so we just assumed it was the number of entries, and we started going through, and I think that's something we had done. We started going through and taking things out, but we still couldn't get all the environment entries that we needed in. But eventually we got there, and Joe did some research. He's like, oh yeah, don't put like Webster's dictionary in your environmental variables. That's probably bad. Don't do that.
In theory, your ENV should only be your secrets, like your keys that shouldn't be shared. Everything
not
else.
True. Oh well. I'm sorry. What way are you speaking of that? Like
what is committed to what is not committed to your repo are your secrets that are keys and stuff.
Right.
But everything else, it's like a URL, for example, or your configuration doesn't have to be in your environment.
Right. So the issue we were having, and the thing that made me nervous initially when Joe was explaining his idea of fixing, is we have multiple environments, from a test environment, dev environment, staging environment, betas, and all these different environments, all the way up to production, right? And the databases, the URL for the databases, the API endpoints that they have to hit, they're all, the entries are all the same. Like, I need generic API endpoint URL in all of them, but what that actual URL is in each environment is different. And that's where I was like, well, because Joe was like, well, we can start hard coding certain things in the configurations, right? Like like URLs. I'm like, well, no. I'm like, no, we can't, because they're different in each environment. And he's like, well, if the environments are different, it'll have a default, which will be the production, but the non-production environments will just will create variables that get passed. I'm like, yeah, but what if somebody forgets? And he actually had a good point. He's like, well, the credentials will be different, Eric. So it should not work. I'm like, in theory. But if your password is password everywhere, Joe, it just might.
But then it works because, that's how I roll. Everything, I can get into everything easier that way.
It's like, listen, I don't need all these character numbers. I need 4 characters. That's all I need. A, B, C, D.
Hey, Eric, you see who joined us over here?
I never look at chat. Who joined us? Who is it?
I'm pointing within our
Shane.
Shane Rosenthal. Welcome and thank you for joining us.
That was Shane. No, that was
Shane. What? Native PHP.
Yeah, Native PHP. Thanks, Native PHP, sponsors of PHP Arc. PHP Tech. Did we have that last week?
Nope. No, this all happened really quick.
This all happened. That's right. Holy smokes. We forgot to mention this. Let me share this. So we had a couple of last minute sponsors, but one of the more exciting ones, Native PHP. Not only are they being a sponsor, which we absolutely truly appreciate, but Shane is coming to the conference and giving a talk on Native PHP. And it's very exciting. I think his and TJ's are the two I'm looking forward to the most. So where is that at? Right here, 4:00 on Wednesday the 21st in the what do we call it? Wrigley Field, which is the big ballroom. I mean, I don't want to say big ballroom. All the rooms are similar size this year with the configuration we're using, but the main ballroom is Wrigley Field. and native PHP, which is very exciting. If you don't know what native PHP is, dude, the work these guys have done over like the last, I don't know how long they've been working on this like behind the scenes, but it allows you to create, well, first thing, create desktop apps. So you can create desktops for Windows, Mac OS, and I assume Linux, because I think it's all Electron under the sheets, but you can create desktop apps, but you can also create mobile apps, which is the thing that has me really excited. I have reservations of it. Like, I'm very worried. Like, I need it to succeed because I need it to have enough adoption where it can't go away. Like, I don't want to invest, the effort of doing it and then, having it disappear. But the really exciting, I don't know if I can say that. Never mind. There's really exciting things happening at Native PHP. Some things I might not be able to say, so I'm not going to say them. But the current setup right now is it's basically just a Laravel framework. They've done all the heavy lifting for you as far as getting it to run as a desktop app or, more importantly, a mobile app. And it's exciting stuff, man. So if you can write a Laravel app, you can write, in theory, a mobile app. You can, and it integrates with Apple Store and Android Store, Mac OS Store and Android Store, so people can install. I think next year's PHP Tech, we might have to migrate over. I mean, we have to dog food this stuff. Yep. It was funny because, go ahead.
No, I was agreeing. I would love to try that out. Can't wait to.
That's 100%.
Can't wait to see the talk at PHP Tech and then be able to ask questions and see what we can do.
Yeah, it's very exciting stuff. Very exciting. But like John had mentioned to me or something, like he's like, hey, Native PHP reached out. They might be interested in sponsoring. I'm like, oh, dude, I've been watching that so closely. We'd actually, at our first meetup, it was a big topic where people were talking about it, and like, is it worth? Is there a need for it? And my answer to that is, if you're a PHP developer, yes, there's a need for it. There's always if you don't, I mean, it's gotten a little better with some of these JavaScript frameworks that do mobile, but yeah, if you need it, But I was telling John, I'm like, man, I keep looking at this, and John's like, you want to go ahead and get a license? I'm like, yeah. I was like, let's go ahead and get a license. Like, we hadn't even talked to them yet. We had just gotten like a message that that might be interesting in sponsoring. So we go ahead and get a license so we can actually use it.
Okay, the big reason I wanted to get the license was they had their pricing now because they're still developing it, and we love supporting other PHP companies.
Yeah,
but at the same time, they already know they're going to increase the price. Right. I'm like, let's be part of the early access program. Learn about it and maybe save some money in the long run.
The cool thing about it is they're upfront. Like, hey, here's how much it is today, but this is how much it's going to be. So just so you know, don't get all huffy with us when you don't jump on board. And so it was exciting. It's exciting. I'm very happy. I even talked to our mobile developer. I'm like, listen, this one talk, this is your job, to go to this talk.
Yeah, well, we understand you're not a PHP developer, but please go check it out.
So yeah, exciting stuff. I'm really, really looking forward to because we've had some conversations with them, obviously, as we were onboarding them for the conference, and some of the things they shared with us is like, wow, like I thought this was exciting before, but I can't wait to share some of this stuff. So, right, because that, like, the one thing I'm thinking of, right?
Yep, yeah. Right. But we're not saying because we don't have the okay.
Okay. I was just making sure that we actually didn't get an okay to say that. Because, I feel like that's a cool thing. So yeah, if you're a PHP developer, even if you're not a Laravel developer, if you're a PHP developer, just keep an eye on native PHP. And if you think you're going to need to do mobile development, like John said, it might be worth investing in that license today, because I can pretty much guarantee you that, down the road, you'll be able to leverage it more and more.
So, funny story. While you were showing their website, but because I'm looking at the restream screen, it was very small. I kept seeing the thing that was flashing up there. I'm like, Via's here. What are they doing with Vim? It said V1. V1 is here.
Oh, V1 is here.
I immediately went over. I'm like, what are they doing with Vim in there? Nope.
Oh, I didn't even notice they even have a countdown to the end of early access.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 16 days, 8 hours, people.
Oh.
That's after tech. So go to tech, go see Shane's talk, ask him some questions. And again, we keep telling people this. This is the cool thing about going to tech. You talk to the people involved with these projects. You're not talking to, like, as great as it was that Kendrick did the talk on Prism, and he did a fantastic talk. Don't get me wrong. If you have a user group, go out, learn something new. This is exactly what Kendrick did. He's like, this is just something I wanted to do. And he started doing it. He put together a talk around what he learned and how, what he's done with it. If you have a user group, do that. Your organizer will love you for just volunteering to do a talk. Do that. Same thing with native PHP. I'm already planning on probably putting together a talk for our user group around native PHP. Do it. But when you go to a conference like Tech, you can talk to TJ Miller in the work he's doing on Prism and what he's working on and what direction he's taking it in. You can talk to Shane, talk to him about native PHP, what they're doing with it, what direction they're taking it. You can talk to Derek, talk to him about Xdebug, how he implemented, how he recommends doing things with it, and they're there
about the latest in UUIDs.
Yeah, Ben with UUIDs, they're there. That was one of the things one of my selling points I try to sell to the native PHP people is like, hey, we got a bunch of people in the core team that come to tech. Maybe go in there and say, hey, it would be better if we did this in PHP for mobile. And so, yeah, do it, man. It's well worth the investment, especially, like I said, if you make money doing PHP, I don't understand how you don't go to a conference like Tech. I mean, obviously, if you're a Laravel shop, going to LarixCon makes sense because you need to see what Laravel's doing and all that. But if you're a PHP person, Laravel, Symfony, WordPress, I would even group into that today. You need to come to a generic. I don't want to say generic, not like it's not interesting, but an all-inclusive conference for PHP.
Just learn to hone your craft, learn what's going on with the language itself, and Laricon. It's a Laravel conference. You're learning what's going on with that, and it's a lot of marketing. You don't get as much marketing at PHP Tech.
But it's just sitting down with other people in the PHP development space and understanding like the things, the problems they're solving, the issues they've come up against, the solutions that they use that work. Like you always hear about packages people are using. Like, man, I had never heard of that package. That sounds like I need to take a look at that. So, yeah, definitely do yourself a favor and come to, even if it's a more local conference. There are local ones around as well, but try to be more. Don't get out of your silo a little bit. This is always my complaint around the WordPress community, and one of my biggest fears with the Laravel community, because so often you see things get introduced in the Laravel community that they lose their mind over. It's like, everybody else over here has been doing this for a while, like value objects. Like, Like that's been a thing. Like this is not new. Maybe somebody threw a wrapper around it so that it has like a facade to it.
They made a facade.
Yeah.
So now it's a Laravel.
But like this problem's already been solved. So I get, because I'm a little bit more protective of the Laravel community because I'm more of a part of that. Whereas the WordPress one, I just felt like we lost those people a long time ago. They're not coming back. They're not coming back. They've gone. But I don't run into a lot of WordPress people. Not that they're not out there. Just I've been so deep in the PHP world for so long. In like every conference I go to, not only ours, but we've been to other conferences in Oregon and Texas, all over the place. I won't say world, although I keep telling John we need to expand. I almost never run into WordPress people. I think I've run into a couple. We actually have a WordPress sponsor of Tech this year, which I was really happy to see. So yes, get WordPress people, broaden their horizon. But yeah, I don't know. I got something else kind of cool. I feel like I'm hogging the show today.
No, what else do you have?
Frank and PHP. Let's be frank here for a minute. Frank and PHP is now officially supported by the PHP Foundation. If you don't know what Frank and PHP is, it's you can't say it's a web server. I mean, it is, but it serves up PHP web stuff, web logic very fast. It's I think it's all Go based. It's a web server. It's a worker. It's like everything is asynchronous. It's all these things in FrankenPHP. The team behind FrankenPHP have been absolutely amazing. Kevin, what was his other big thing? Oh, I gotta look. He's got another thing that I always forget about. API, something with APIs. What else does he do? Is he the one behind the API? Oh, what is he?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I know. I really need to do my research sooner than API Platform. He's also the guy behind API Platform, which I was raving about. I got so excited around API Platform, especially when they created the Laravel hook for it version of it. So this like it's people like this you run into these conferences with that like so ridiculously smart and so into this, but he's also the guy behind FrankenPHP. And the cool thing about this, so the PHP Foundation, we talk about this often. The PHP Foundation is a foundation that was established to pay people to work on core. So it's very important to understand the distinction that PHP Foundation is not core. But there are a lot of developers who work on core who get paid through the foundation. And the foundation is just works off donations from companies. PHP Architect donates a lot of money to them. So other companies too.
Is the foundation becoming the new Apache where everything's like they're gobbling up all the little PHP things and they're going to be kind of sponsoring, holding?
Well, it's interesting you word that way, John. Because with this new official support, that's one of the things they're doing. The code base is actually going to be moved under, I think it's actually getting moved under the PHP core Git repo, not the GitHub, the PHP GitHub,
the official account
organization. Yeah, the PHP GitHub organization. FrankenPHP will be moved under that, and then people of the PHP Foundation who get paid to work on these code bases are going to start contributing more officially to FrankenPHP. Bottom line, it's exciting news all around. Somebody had likened FrankenPHP is to PHP what Node is to JavaScript. Right, it's kind of that same concept. I'm like, okay, I'm going to allow that, but so the cool thing about this is again, when you have the people who are working on the core code for PHP, the language, as well as working on solutions like Franken PHP, optimization just starts to blossom. And I'm really looking forward to what's to come with this. The big thing to understand is nothing changes. Everything's still open source. If you're a contributor to Franken PHP, you can continue to contribute to Franken PHP. Nothing's getting, there's no wall garden or anything going up. Everything's the same. This just kind of ensures that Franken PHP continues to grow, continues to move forward. I'm excited about this. I'm really, really excited about this. We'll see where it goes, though. We need to, I don't know, like, I told John, I'm like, hey, I'm working on a new website. I'm thinking about hosting it with Franken PHP. And John's like, but why? I'm like, because it's Franken PHP, man. That's why. It's like, we don't have performance issues. I'm like, well, you haven't seen my code yet, man.
We don't have enough traffic to have performance issues.
Well, we're gonna change that. We'll get traffic.
Yeah.
That's all I got, man.
That's it. It continues to scare me. AI being all the rage. While it's great, you get people that are vibe coding, whatever that really means. And you start using things like Cursor, which I still haven't used. I know people who have, like real developers who have, and
yeah, our guy uses it. You understand what it is, right?
It's an IDE with AI built into it. As far as I know,
it's VS Code with that's been customized with a bunch of AI tools. Yeah,
right. But this Hacker News article is pointing out that there's been malicious NPM packages meant to target especially new coders using Cursor, because the description of them, what was it? It's a command line tool for configuring the macOS version of the Cursor editor. So you start looking through these plugins for Cursor and you're like, oh, that sounds cool. Let me install that. And next thing you know, you're giving somebody access to your machine. Dependencies scare me. Plugins scare me when you don't know where they are. And having people that are less savvy because they want to vibe code and build something quickly, just installing random stuff makes it even scarier.
You said you've been looking at my code, I guess, after all. Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a few packages for Cursor that were pointed out. SW-CUR, SW-CUR1, and AID. AID.
Oh, this one's nasty. So is this an actual package or is this meant to look like curl?
Well, so it's a plugin, I believe, package that you're installing on Cursor, but each one of them gives you a description that makes you think, it's something you need. Mm-hmm. But then it takes over your Cursor installation.
Oh,
and
horrible.
I think I read it was overwriting files so that it wouldn't auto update anymore. So that if Cursor wanted to lock it out, they're like, nope, you're not going to auto update.
Yeah, so there's 307 people out there who are hosed.
Right.
Yeah. For the record, by the way, I do have a correction to make from last week. I was reminded. I kept giving Discord credit for the for the articles I was talking about last week, and it wasn't Discord. It was our man Frank in our Slack channel. So
yeah, I think he shared this one too.
Yeah, I think so. That's what made me think of it. I'm like, oh man, hope he gives the right person credit.
Yeah, I saw a couple of things come through on LinkedIn recently that I thought was very interesting. You know how every time we talk about PHP and everyone's like, PHP is dead, or is PHP relevant? What's the first thing you often say to people?
You're an idiot. No.
That's too. I often point out PHP powers over 80% of the web, and this article brings up a good point. It's like, stop saying that. Like,
Why? Is it not
because
true?
it's true in the sense that it powers a crap ton of WordPress sites, but that's not the point. PHP is not dead. It's still powerful, but the fact that it's powering X% of the web doesn't really mean as much. It is one of the main tools for dynamic web development, but not like the percentage. Again, it is less important.
Yeah, I love the comic strips because I worked at shops that did this. One of the first places I worked was a Cold Fusion shop that was migrating from PHP to Cold Fusion, and then ASP.NET, same thing. Ruby on Rails. I went down the Ruby on Rails one.
So when I started with PHP, right around this 2004 timeframe, it was I was coming from Perl, and I was starting to look at PHP, and one of my best friends at the time was telling me about, you got to try Ruby on Rails, and he was raving about Active Record and how amazing it was. And I remember he had printed out the Ruby on Rails documentation, like literally for reference. And so he went that way, I went this way, and here I am today.
Not that Ruby on Rails was a bad decision, but yeah, I agree. PHP didn't go anywhere. I would argue, I don't know. I can't really make that argument because I'm not in the Ruby world or the Rails world, but I definitely feel that PHP is more relevant today than Ruby on Rails.
Yeah. One of the things that this points out is when you're looking at these statistics of the number of searches for PHP on Stack Overflow, it's down. And they point out the fact that, yes, it's down there, but people are doing more research in something like Copilot or ChatGPT. Right. And then there's so many other programming aspects out there now. If you're looking for web apps, APIs, or websites, PHP is very relevant, but now there's AI, they're talking about desktop apps and mobile apps and embedded and blockchain. And so the percentage of searches for PHP, when you compare it to all of these other things, is lower, but that doesn't mean PHP is dead. It's just not necessarily relevant in those markets.
Right. Like you said, especially even before AI, I mean, even before that, like, if you're a Laravel person, chances are you weren't on Stack Overflow looking for solutions for Laravel. There are, places to go to find Laravel answers for your Laravel apps.
And that's the other thing people are looking for. They're not searching PHP on Stack Overflow. Now they're searching Laravel specifically. Mm-hmm. So PHP is not dead. Yeah. Bottom line, it was a good read. It did stir up a good back and forth in the LinkedIn post where I got this from.
Oh, really?
Because his title was kind of clickbaity in the sense that he used that like his PHP powers 80% of the web. Stop saying it or something. Uh-huh. I forget what it actually was, but it caused this back and forth of the people that are going to read the article are PHP developers who, they feel something, they get angry and they want to, but then it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And then the people that already hate PHP are going to read that and be like, yeah, PHP is dead, and move on. They're not going to read the article to find the real context of or the real message behind the title.
And the thing I always think about, like, again, back to the comic, of, hey, PHP is dead, use Cold Fusion, use ASP.NET, use Ruby on Rails, use Django. That person saying that is the same person. Like, PHP dead, use this. Like that, they like the latest, greatest. They're always chasing whatever is the new hotness. And
Right.
it's always that same person making that comment.
Yep.
Jeez, get out of here, man. All right.
Although now I have a new site to go for comics where we need to contact them and say, hey, can we use your comics in the magazine?
I know. Yeah, we should. I love these comics. I love the basic stuff. I forgot the guy that we were using for a while, who was so friendly. He was just like he was a developer. He's like, no, man, I just do this for fun. Feel free to use it. Don't worry. I'm like, all right, you're awesome. I still run into his comics every now and then.
I know we need to get back to using them. I forget, kind of stopped because we got so late and it became like just one more thing to think about. But
yeah,
it'd be a good idea.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Always nice little humor. I like having those sort of things in the magazine.
Yeah. You want to talk about one more Laravel thing?
Absolutely. Well, especially if it's Laravel. Lay it on me.
So good conversation happening in Discord just before the show, and they were talking about the Laravel container. And I don't know, you being a Laravel guy, you use that container. I'm used to the code base I work in. We're using I think PHP DI, just a container built from that.
Injection container, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. So you inject it. It handles all the auto wiring of classes for you and does all that. But when you ask for a class, it builds it for you and then gives it. And then if you ask for the same thing, it gives you the same class.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't go and rebuild it every single time. And they pointed out that the discussion in Discord was, in Laravel, every time you ask the container for something, it makes a new one for you. So it's basically a factory. Every time you say, hey, give me this service class, it builds a new service class. And their point was, imagine you had 50 things, 50 classes that you had built. Each one of those took the same 4 or 5 dependencies. You're now going to have, a couple thousand classes, even though they're 4 or 5 of the same exact one.
Mm-hmm.
So now your memory is gone, is very bloated. The time it takes to build them unnecessarily is bloated. So this person said, if you change just one line in the Laravel container, you can basically get a service locator where when you say, hey, I need XYZ service, it looks and it says, oh, I don't have that. Let me go build it. Here you go. And then you ask for XYZ service again. It's like, oh, here you go. Take it.
Is this that line?
Nope, further down. It's further down.
So I this was a late ad because I didn't see it on your list earlier. I didn't get a chance to read this. Oh yeah. What have they submitted a patch request to Laravel?
So within GitHub, when you do a Git pull, is it Git or no Composer? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
In Composer, you can apply patches afterwards. So when you upgrade Laravel, for example, it then would apply a patch. So they have a patch where it just takes out this. If you scroll up, you can see both snippets, right? Nope, the other way. I'm sorry.
Oh, here. Yeah.
So they just need to take out that this is shared abstract,
and
then it becomes the service locator that they want.
Okay, so again, I apologize. I didn't get a chance to read this. Why is the is shared there? Or why is the is shared next? Oh, it's and. Never mind.
Right. So when you call container singleton, when you say I want a singleton of this, it's kind of doing the same thing. And I forget, I didn't read it closely enough to figure out why that was a stopper, why they're not just using that. But the point of the article is twofold. One, it's about the Laravel container, and also the fact that you can have these patches where their point is you can do things 3 different ways. You can fork the repo, then you have to maintain it. So every time Laravel upgrades, you now need to upgrade your version of it.
Right.
You can bring the code into your code base, but then you have the same problem.
Mm.
You can create a pull request and hope they'll accept it, but in a case like this, they may say, no, you do it our way.
Yeah.
Or you patch it. So do everything the way you normally do. You can keep your code up to date because it's just doing a composer update at that point.
Yeah.
And then it's applying the patch after that. And
Oh, how slick is that?
And then
right?
if you ever happen to change that one line, your patch will fail, but probably not a big deal because you're going to find out before it goes to production, and then you fix it if you need to, remove the patch if you don't need it anymore. But it is pretty slick.
That's very slick. I understand now the patch. So I was looking at this wrong. I mean, I understand that's what he's talking about doing here, but like, there's always things. I mean, that's the thing. Like you're always talking to people. It's like, oh, Laravel framework's okay, but I don't like how it does this one thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, I can see that argument because obviously you can't submit a patch for that because this is how Laravel does it, and or you can't submit a PR for that. But yeah, like having your own little patch branch of massaging a framework to the things you like maybe you don't want to use Active Record in Laravel. Maybe you want to use Docker, and you could probably, well, you would do that anyways through Composer, but yeah. Dude,
but there's always those little changes that you're like, oh, I got to remember to go change this one file.
Right.
I've seen it done in the build process where after Composer installed, the build process will do a search and replace for you.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that you can do that straight in Composer is really nice.
That's slick, man. All right, that one caught me off guard. That's pretty slick. I'm gonna have to, and I am very curious about this problem he's solving here, but that's very slick. I have to remember that. Very cool, John. Good catch. Where'd you find this?
Discord. They're talking about it just before the show.
Well, whose Discord?
Ours. The PHP Architect Discord.
We have a Discord?
At discord.phparch.com. Yes, we do. Believe it or not.
Some awesome people in there. Discord.phparch.com. Yeah, I do enjoy hanging out. I lurk more than I engage, unfortunately. Not because I don't want to, it's just
okay. The reason they didn't want to use container singleton is they wanted the auto wiring aspect of the Laravel container, where if you don't define it, it just goes and it builds the container. It builds that class for you. And it's like, oh, you need XYZ service. Let me go build that. Oh, that needs ABC service. I'll build that. And it's auto wired. You don't have to manually do it. But to use the singleton feature of the container, you would have to do that manually for every single one of your classes. And their point is, at that point, the framework isn't doing the work for us. We're doing the work for the framework.
Yeah.
I say that, but very smart guy, Andy Snell, freaking genius. I don't know why.
You don't know why? He's a genius. I don't know why.
No. I don't know why he did this, but he took the time to figure out in our framework that we use on a day-to-day basis, if you only relied on the auto wiring of PHP DI, it added so much time to the request. Where if you had,
interesting.
I mean, we have tons of service providers, and each one will wire up, 4 or 5 classes, whatever it is. But by manually specifying all of the wiring, it sped up each request, and it was not a minuscule amount. It wasn't like a micro optimization. It was just by defining these ahead of time, even though you now have to load every single file, it sped up the website by whatever it was. And it's like, okay, I guess we're going to now manually do this. So to this guy's point, having to call singleton all the time is a pain in the ass, but it may actually speed up your application by doing so.
Cool. Yeah, fun. Duck in Discord.
Duck Nizzle.
Yeah. Taylor, the creator of Laravel, came out of CodeIgniter. Matter of fact, I think Laravel was created because, if I remember correctly, Taylor was creating a service container that initially he was going to try to create it in CodeIgniter. Yeah, as the CodeIgniter core. Yeah, I could be wrong about all this, so don't quote me on it, but I think that's kind of what sparked his idea of, I'll just create my own framework. And he went from CodeIgniter and created Laravel. And yeah, cool stuff, man. Cool stuff. All right. Laravel, by the way, full disclosure, official sponsor of PHP Tech. Just saying. And PHP Architect, official sponsor of Laracon this year, which is fun. I think that's it, John. I got a bag to pack. I'm just going to throw a bunch of stuff in a bag. Did I ever tell you when I worked for a big company, they had a company retreat in Palm Springs, which is not far from San Diego. It's a couple hours, I think. But it was a big deal to get invited to it, like a really big deal to get invited to it. And I got like a last minute invite. Matter of fact, I didn't even know I was invited. A manager came up to me and says, "Hey, I hear we're going to be rooming together." I'm like, "Okay, weirdo, what?" And then my boss like, "Oh yeah, the company retreat is coming up. I'd like to. You've done a lot for us this last year. I'd really like you to be a part of it." I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." The problem is, the retreat was the day after my wife's birthday, and I had planned this huge surprise party for her. I mean, I went all out. I rented a margarita machine. I got it catered by a Mexican place. Anyways, long story short, I got hammered, and I had to go drive 2 hours to Palm Springs next day, and I was not feeling it. And Beck, my wife, she's like, because she was definitely hammered too. I mean, we were both had the hangover the next day, and she was like, "Are you gonna pack?" I'm like, "I don't even know what to pack." I literally went in my closet, just took everything out, just threw it in the back of my truck. I'm like, "I'll figure it out when I get there." It was so much fun, man. I actually got. That company just came out with like this high-end digital camera, which ended up taking off. Like it was a major hit. And I never had a camera that nice before. Dude, I'm like, wait a minute, they're just giving this to us? I was so excited. I even danced on stage with Wycliffe. Wycliffe was there performing, and I jumped on stage and I'm danced up there with his band. It was good God. There are pictures of me somewhere roaming around of me on stage with Wycliffe.
You have to share them.
I don't know whether I have to find them, but yeah, every now and then I come across a picture from the event, but I've never been able to find my picture of me with Wycliffe. I've seen it, but I don't have a copy of it. I need to try to find it. It was so much fun. We need company retreats like that, John. All right, I think I said I'm wrapping up because I'm going to throw a bunch of stuff in the back of my truck and figure it out when I get there. All right.
See you next week, NS Buggy.
Yeah, see ya, Ennis Bucky. I see a lot of you guys next week. Obviously, next week we're probably not going to live stream. We will live stream on the phptech.tv website. Even if you don't have a virtual pass, which you could very easily get even today, go to phptech.tv, and throughout the conference, we'll stream a talk, or we'll stream
something.
vendors, the vendor booths, or we stream them. We've been getting better and better with it. So if you just come to the landing page, see what's on there, and maybe you'll be able to watch one of the talks for free. Who knows? But go check it out, and but try to make it to tech. Even the people doing the virtual stream, the virtual stream is fantastic. I mean, it's the next best thing to being there. But the hallway tracks, man, I'm telling you, the people you run into, the people you sit down and have lunch with, it's just amazing. It could be a very transformative experience for you if you want it to be. So go check it out, and but keep an eye on PHP Tech TV, and we will definitely be back the week after for the show. Right?
Sounds good. Yep.
All right.
That's
everybody.
The plan.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
This has been PHP Podcast, the official podcast of PHP Architect, the industry's leading tech magazine and publisher, focused on PHP and web development. Subscribe today at phparch.com to see what the leaders in the community and industry are talking about.